Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to get rid of that music. It looks like the timer's a little off. Anyway, it's time to kick off this webinar for this week, which is what your auto dealership needs to know about the new FTC safeguards. And if you're on the call, could you please just enter yes into the Q&A call so that I know that you can hear me and that we don't have a problem. Like I saw somebody the other day that was talking for probably close to 10 minutes before they even knew no one could hear them. Perfect. I see Dylan out there. That's great. And Steve and Michael. Cool. Anyway, let's kick this off. And today we are, why are you here? Auto dealerships in New Jersey have some new regulations in place, according to the FTC. They're now being considered as non-banking financial institutions. Basically, it means that you've got access to a whole bunch of information about your consumers, about people leasing and buying and leasing cars. And that information now needs to be protected. And the FTC is, if you haven't seen it yet or looked at it yet, the FTC is now able to be imposing fines or even criminal charges if data gets out and you're not doing the right stuff to protect it. So what I want to do today is I'm going to run through some of the things that can be done in your dealership today to protect yourself. And there's, you can certainly go through and execute these things on your own and get yourself protected, because you do have until April to get it done, but you need to start because these things are going to take some time. And at the end, I will talk about how we can help you get protected and move forward with this, because we do have a process to make this happen. With that, we're going to move on. Anyway, who are we? I started Metro MSP with my business partner Anthony back in 2010. We focus on cybersecurity. A lot of you might have an IT provider out there that takes care of the computers. We take care of the cyber pieces first. And it's more than just taking care of the computers. It's getting the processes and procedures in place, and also bringing all the right people and tools to make sure that you work, because having antivirus isn't enough. And what's really great about us, which I feel is great, and my clients tell us that this is great, because we actually do stuff more for a fixed price. You're not going to get any unexpected bills at the end of the month, because you're going to know exactly what it is. And who am I? I'm Bob Mitchie, and I've been involved in the cyberspace all the way back into the 80s. I was involved in one of the very first internet worms that was out there. And I've also got an Amazon bestseller, managing your computer risk and managing your cyber risk, your business risk in the cybersecurity minefield. And if you hang out to the end, I will show you how to get a copy of that book for no charge. And what are these safeguards all about? So the U.S. government actually has a whole bunch of standards from NIST on how businesses should be protecting themselves, and the FTC is now coming along and putting this big document together for what non-banking financial institutions have to do. And as a car dealership, you're just one of the people that are called out in this new regulation. That's actually a topic for another webinar that we're going to do, which is, am I a non-banking financial institution? Because it comes down to CPAs, bank, mortgage brokers, and a whole bunch of other things. But you need to maintain safeguards to protect the security of the consumer information that you have. And it's more than just running a firewall these days. So a lot of cyber attacks are happening. I just saw a webinar, a video from it was actually a TV broadcast for a cyber insurance dealer we work with, and the interviewer couldn't believe all the attacks that were going on. I'm going to share one of the ones that we've worked on recently. And people think they're too small, they're not going to get attacked, but they're happening every day, and they're happening to very unsuspecting people. We had a CEO reach out to us where he lost $57,000 because he let the bad guys into his computer. Yeah, you know, these bad guys are really good at social engineering these days. He called up, he thought he was, he got a call, and this individual thought he was working with his bank. Well, it turns out it wasn't his bank. And he spent 3 hours on the phone giving the bad guys the codes coming in off the phone, coming in off the cell phone. And that was a $57,000 loss. Now the bank came along and said, well, you know, this wasn't fraud as far as they were concerned, because they actually had to authenticate they sent codes to the phone. And unfortunately, the guy shared those codes with the person that was on the other end. The guy, the bad guy, transferred all that money around, and it was gone. So, you know, for cyber protection, like I said before, we actually do the best to add the best protection we can for our clients. I can't say that we're going to stop all cyber attacks. Nobody can, because I can't stop that attack that I was just talking about, because people can be social engineered. That's why we have to train them. But one of the things that does set our security services different is we've got real people looking at the data all the time at the systems. Yeah, we have some AI tools that are monitoring what's going on, but those AI tools lead into real sets of eyes that are going to act and react to the data that's in there. Now, it's a lot of data, and some people might try to get some of these tools and build it on their own. Right now, we've got 24/7 team that does nothing but watch these alerts and respond. That's 3 shifts of people and 3 people per shift. So this isn't something that you can that you want to build out on your own. In fact, we actually partner with some of the best of breed security operations centers just to do this, because that's what they do full time. And they're all staffed by ex-military people, which people are like, why military? Well, military people know how to follow process. And that's what it comes down to on the cyber side. So what's one of the FTC guidelines really have, if you go read the regs, it's 15 to 16 different things that they spell out things that you need to do. We've actually consolidated this list down to four key things that if you do today, it's going to get you moving in the right direction. And like I said, you can go look at section 314 of the FTC regs if you want to have something to read before going to sleep. But that's where we're going to start. And the 4 core areas really are, get your network assessed by a qualified individual, have ongoing evaluations and assessments, and train your employees. Monitor the employees, and last but not least, create an incident response plan, because when something happens, and it's going to happen, how are you going to react? And at that time, you really don't want to try and figure this out. So anyway, the qualified risk assessment. Most IT teams aren't qualified to do the risk assessment. They might have some of the skills, but do you really want your IT team proofreading their own work? We actually work with a third party to even assess our environment, so that we know that things are safe. So you really want to go through and create work with an individual or company to get a real assessment done of your environment, because the FTC wants to see it, and you need to conduct that risk assessment. And things with risk assessments is they're not a one and done thing. They need to be done. I prefer quarterly, at least, and the regulation calls out annually, because right after you do a risk assessment, something could change and you could be vulnerable. Typically, the bad guys are in an environment for almost 200 days before you even know it, because people might not have tools, might have tools deployed. They might not be looking at them. That Target breach from a few years ago, Target had the right tools, they just didn't look at them. So conduct the risk assessment, and then you really have to go through and create a risk management plan and evaluate it. So it really is implementing periodic reviews. We've got systems and processes to go ahead and do these reviews on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. And also inventory what you have. Know where all that equipment is. Look for new things that might be coming into your environment. And then encrypt any look at the customer data. Is it encrypted? Did you know that Microsoft Windows can encrypt it? Encrypt your files for you if you've got the right stuff. We actually help and manage that process and document it so what's going on. And then assess your applications. You might be using a lot of cloud-based applications. Everybody is. But those need to be secured and protected just like everything else. And it's up to you to vet your vendors, because if you're giving out your data to somebody, you're the one that's still ultimately responsible because it is your data. Here's a big one. Implement multi-factor authentication. It explicitly says it in the regs. You might even have cyber insurance that's requiring it. Right now, I think it's Travelers Insurance is actually in court right now over $1 million cyber case that they don't want to pay because one of the clients said that they had multi-factor everywhere. They got breached. They had a breach, and when Travelers did their investigation, they found out that multi-factor wasn't turned on everywhere, and now they don't want to pay. So, this isn't about the cyber insurance piece. This is really about what the FTC wants to do. But FTC fines or criminal penalties could come down the road. And then even in your policies, you want to have a process for how you dispose of equipment. Are you throwing it in the dumpster out back? Are you sending it home with people? You can send it home with people, but you have to make sure that you securely data wipe that equipment before you do it, and then maintain a log and audit everything that's going on. This is a lot of process and procedure. This is not what most IT guys come in and might be taking care of the computers in your business. This is actually creating a cybersecurity plan for your dealership. And then training. Employee training is big. Now, if the individual that I talked about that had that $50,000 data breach had really gone through awareness training for what to look out for, maybe he wouldn't have lost that money. And so what we do is the FTC wants to make sure that you're training your people. And besides training the people, you're going to need to document that training actually happened. So you want to really look at some of the applications. You can get them online. We offer them where it's an online training program. Your employees go through and train it, but then we test them. You want to make sure that you're sending out these phishing emails because cyber attacks are way up and the bad guys have nothing but time on their hands to help out. And I'm not sure if you've been following it right now. If you saw the 60 Minutes thing last weekend, these new chat bots that are out there, they are helping the bad guys craft better emails. And all those grammar problems that we saw in the bad emails, they're getting less and less because they're using these chatbots. So you really want to make sure that you are training your employees. And then we also want to put employee monitoring in place. You want to make sure that people aren't accidentally going to things that they shouldn't have. They shouldn't. Now, step back for a minute. Some dealerships are like, well, this really doesn't affect anybody. This one's a little old. This one's from 2019. A dealership got infected, got ransomware, and they were shut down. This was a big Dodge dealership down in South Florida. They had a $500,000 ransom that they chose not to pay, and they went and reached out to the FBI, and they went through an investigation. Well, here's the thing: when you reach out, when the investigations come along, this is a crime scene. So all the equipment could have been potentially seized for investigation. It's at least shut down until it can be imaged. This dealership actually wound up buying almost $250,000 of new equipment so they could keep running. That wasn't a cyber insurance thing. That was personal business expenses that they had to pay to just keep their business up and running. And when I looked at the one news article I saw said that no personal information was breached. That's kind of difficult to believe, because the bad guys typically are sitting in environments and looking at those environments for a while before you even see the ransomware. We've seen cases where the bad guys actually asked for the exact amount of cyber insurance because they knew the company could pay, or they asked how much they had asked for the same amount that was in the bank account. So, you really want to be diligent about this. This is a new business expense, and you need to take this seriously. So the last thing you need to create is really an incident response plan. This really spells out who to call, what to do when something happens. It might be that you really want to, the first call that I recommend people make on an incident response plan is to reach out to their attorney and then their IT guy. The IT guys can contain the breach, but you have to determine if this incident has to be determined if it's a data breach or it's just a mistake. Because a data breach, a real data incident, needs to be reported and run appropriately. If your IT guys come in and start wiping machines immediately, you're now destroying evidence. And from a criminal perspective, that it could be negligence, could be criminal. You don't know until things get down. So from an incident response plan, know who to call, have a plan for different scenarios, and test the plan. And this is all stuff that needs to be done and created for the FTC. And then finally, when you do have an incident, the last thing the response plan does is, what happened and how can we keep it from happening again? So anyway, how long is it going to take these safeguards? These safeguards, to put all these processes in place, the monitoring, the documentation, the training, it is a 3 to 6 month process. And the FTC originally had a December deadline for these. And what happened was the Small Business Administration worked with the FTC and said, there's not enough cyber resources out there today to get everyone that needs to comply, to get all the compliance done. So these deadlines have been extended to June, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to wait until May to actually start this. This is a process that needs to start now in your dealership, and you need to address each one of these plans to really get everything in place. Now, it's great, but there's an issue. It's time consuming. It does require, it really does require certified, qualified professional security people personnel to do this. Your IT guy and your office manager are not going to be able to pull this. Sure, they could probably pull some templates online, but is that really how you want to protect your business? And when it comes right down to it, 90% of the IT guys don't have a security background, and they're used to seeing things in one specific way. That's where we come in. But and while you're waiting on this, if you try and do it on your own and take the time, you're still at risk, and that's a problem. So you've got two choices right now. You can try and piece it together. I gave you a lot of good pointers today on things to do, things that you need to do. You can go look at the FTC guidelines and work and spell it all out, get it in place. There's actually a couple. There's other online services that are doing some of the FTC stuff. If you want to look at those, let's talk, because they're not doing the full thing that really need to do to protect yourself. Or you can partner with a team of professionals. I'd love to talk to you, and we set up a call. We can talk about helping your business and the way we work. We want to become that business partner to become part of your team. We're not just here to fix the computers. We're here to secure your environment, but ultimately we're here to help you grow. And people think I'm crazy, but one of the really good indicators that I have for how well we're working with our companies our clients is when I get invited to their Christmas party, because they think of us as their partner. We are their security team, and we really make things happen. So partnering with you is big, but we also, I talked about earlier, we need to have 24/7 monitoring and alerting and logging of what's going on, because that's how we track what's happened. If something, because if the bad guys are in the environment, you want to know it today. You don't want to know it 200 days from now. And and as a top tier IT company, we're not the cheapest play in town, but we're bringing together a stack of tools that we've curated together to provide protections, and that just work. So if you want to book a FTC strategy call with us, take out your phone right now, click on and scan that barcode, and we can hop on a call. It's going to take you back to the landing page that you've seen before on the registration site. Just scroll down, book your strategy call with us, and we can work further. Now, for everyone that's live on this call today, I've actually got a special bonus that I talked about. I talked about the managing your business risk in the cybersecurity minefield. Anybody that books a call today, I'll make sure you get a copy of that book. So it's only for the people on the call today. I'm going to have to go and delete this out of the recording in the future, guys. But if you scan the barcode here, we can get your call scheduled. And even if you're not ready to do it, or work with us directly, or if you think you want to build out your own team, schedule a call. Let's talk. There may be some things that we can help your team get accomplished, and help you grow, stay secure, and be part of the FTC safety. Again, here's the code. That's all I got for today, and we've got a couple questions in the chat. One question came in and said, "Oh, how long are these calls?" These are just short introductory calls. We're going to just hop on a 20-minute call and really talk about some of the things that's going on in your business. We will see if your business is a good fit for us, and we're a good fit for you. No obligation. Schedule the call, and we'll see how things go. Again, take out your phone, scan the barcode, and that's what I got for today, guys. Hope you had a great time. I will talk to you later.